Now to the White House's plan to put Washington front and center in the AI race, comparing what they want to do to the Manhattan Project. You know, the research project that gave us the atomic bomb. It's called the Genesis mission, a government-wide push to fast-track AI breakthroughs in energy, science, and defense, with the Department of Energy at the center of it all. The plan unites AI research across 17 national labs and some 40,000 DOE scientists, creating one coordinated federal AI platform for the first time ever.
Here's a scary one. Two pioneers of artificial intelligence have sounded the doomsday alarm. They're warning that the extinction of humanity could be only a few years away. The authors of the best-selling book, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies, says that as AI becomes smarter than humans, it could develop its own goals, deceive its creators, and gain power over us all. One of those authors has told a conference, unless governments act quickly, we are doomed.
I do not expect something actually smart to attack us with marching robot armies with glowing red eyes, where there could be a fun movie about us fighting them. I expect an actually smarter and uncaring entity will figure out strategies and technologies that can kill us quickly and reliably, and then kill us.
Michael Notel is an associate professor at the University of Queensland and specialises in artificial intelligence, and he joins us from Brisbane. We just heard from one of the authors of the book, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. This is scary stuff. Is humanity actually staring down the abyss?
The Trump administration is pushing to expand AI in federal scientific research. Yesterday, President Trump signed an executive order launching the Genesis mission. The plan allows Department of Energy national labs to use AI while partnering with tech companies and universities. Supporters say it could boost research in physics, chemistry, nuclear science, and space exploration. But critics warn the move could drive up energy use and raise safety concerns if regulations are weakened.
With this pen today, President Trump signed an historic mission. This is reminiscent of the Manhattan Project that brought World War II to an early and successful end, similar to the Apollo projects that put a man on the moon in 1969. This is an all-in national effort to take the power of AI and pair it with the 40,000 outstanding scientists and engineers at our national labs to use the world's largest supercomputers to advance innovation and science, to fix our rising energy costs, to give better economic opportunities for our citizens, to make longer and healthier lives possible. Today was not incremental, Brett. It was transformative.
Sure. Well, you say, like, in the long term, where will things end up? Long term, I don't know what long term is. Maybe it's 10, 20 years, something like that. For me, that's long term. My prediction is that work will be optional. Optional. So
we'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be like playing sports or a video game or something like that. If you want to work, in the same way, like you can go to the store and just buy some vegetables, or you could grow vegetables in your backyard. It's much harder to grow vegetables in your backyard, but some people still do it because they like growing vegetables. That will be what work is like, optional. And between now and then, there's actually a lot of work to get to that point. Mm-hmm. And I always recommend people read Ian Banks' culture books to get a sense for what a probable positive AI future is like. And interestingly, in those books, money doesn't exist. It's kind of interesting. And my guess is, if you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which this seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. Now, there will still be constraints on power, like electricity and mass. The fundamental physics elements will still be constraints, but I think at some point currency becomes irrelevant.
internet, even kind of the development of microchips, all of that was really subsidized or kind of spearheaded by the government. So AI, on the other hand, has really been spearheaded, developed by a handful of private sector labs. You think Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, you know, the companies whose chatbots you use. So I think the announcement yesterday is kind of a joining of forces between Silicon Valley and the government. And there's certainly a lot of chummy relationships between people in the White House AI czar David Sachs, has a very close relationship. A lot of these people were former venture capitalists in Silicon Valley. So I think there's going to be a lot more public-private partnerships. And that's one of the most exciting parts of the order, is it explicitly said that within 90 days, the Secretary of Energy, who's kind of overseeing all this, has to identify some of those opportunities for further public-private collaboration.
It is.
Emergency. Emergency. Please remain calm and clear the building.
At a top robotics company in Japan this week, 4 robots being developed for military applications killed 29 humans in the lab. The scariest part is that lab workers deactivated 2 of the robots, took apart the 3rd, but the 4th robot began restoring itself and somehow connected to an orbiting satellite to download information about how to rebuild itself even more strongly than before. And this next sentence is a quote. This is serious shit, Linda, but you're never going to hear about this in the news. The robotics company has too much to lose, and governments want IA robot soldiers, close quote. I immediately thought of what happened the month before at the July 15th, 2017 National Governors Association meeting in Providence, Rhode Island. 30 governors gathered at the final session to hear Elon Musk, CEO and founder of Tesla and SpaceX, talk about the future with Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe. Musk repeated a warning that he has been making for some time, that the development of robots, androids, and cyborgs with human-like artificial intelligence is, quote, a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization, close quote. And here now is an excerpt from what Elon Musk told the governors.
Are robots going to take our jobs, everybody's jobs in the future? Or how much do you see artificial intelligence coming into the workplace?
Well, first of all, I think on the artificial intelligence front, you know, I have exposure to the very most cutting edge AI, and I think people should be really concerned about it. I keep sounding the alarm bell, but you know, until people see like robots going down the street killing people, like they don't know how to react.
It's on you to protect yourself. That's why we trust.
Should be really concerned about AI. AI is a rare case where I think we need to be proactive in regulation instead of reactive. Because I think by the time we're reactive in AI regulation, it's too late. AI is a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization. In a way that car accidents, airplane crashes, faulty drugs, or bad food were not. They were harmful to a set of individuals within society, of course, but they were not harmful to society as a whole. AI is a fundamental existential risk for human civilization, and I don't think people fully appreciate that.
Elon Musk, did any of you see his rocket launch? I mean, this guy has a lot of intelligence and he has a lot of guts. And when he makes a warning like this, as he's been making for the last 12 months, I think the entire planet should take Elon Musk very seriously. By August 21st, the Washington Post headlined, Elon Musk calls for ban on killer robots before weapons of terror are unleashed. And I immediately thought he knows about what happened in the robotics company in Japan. Quote, Tesla chief executive Elon Musk says that artificial intelligence is more of a risk to the world than is North Korea, offering humanity a stark warning about the perilous rise of autonomous machines. Now, the tech billionaire has joined more than 100 robotic and artificial intelligence experts, calling on the United Nations to ban one of the deadliest forms of such machines, autonomous weapons, close quote. In an open letter to the United Nations Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons, Elon Musk and 116 other AI intelligence experts, including Apple's Alphabet, wrote, lethal autonomous weapons threaten to become the third revolution in warfare. Once developed, they will permit armed conflict to be fought at a scale greater than ever and at time scales faster than humans can comprehend. These can be weapons of terror, weapons that despots and terrorists use against innocent populations, and weapons hacked to behave in undesirable ways. We do not have long to act. Once this Pandora's box is opened, it will be hard to close. We therefore implore the high contracting parties, meaning in the UN, to find a way to protect us all from these dangers, close quote. 30 nation representatives signed the open letter, including China, Israel, Russia, Britain, South Korea, and France. And then it was made public in an international AI conference in Melbourne, Australia. The next day, on August 22nd, 2017, the UK Telegraph headlined, quote, hackers turn family robots into weapons and spying tools, close quote. Recently, security researchers at the large cybersecurity global corporation IOA Active in Seattle, Washington, demonstrated how company technicians hacked into an IO Active robot and turned it into a domestic spy that would also do violence on command, and demonstrated with a screwdriver wielding home helper robot. What they did in the demonstration, you're seeing a freeze frame, and it's the right side, the robot has coming out attached to it a screwdriver, and they were able to just change the coding just a little bit in the software, and this robot began attacking with the screwdriver.
Enabling application and use, whether you're in healthcare, you could be in entertainment, manufacturing, self-driving cars, transportation. Each one of these industries have AIs that deeply affect them, and these are the 5-layer stack. NVIDIA is at the lower level, the platform level. The reason why we say that we're an AI company that works with every single AI company in the world is because we're the platform by which we are able to work with all of these technology companies and all these application companies across all these industries. And so that is a platform that we created. The moat that people describe, not so much a moat, but basically the language by which all of these different applications and these different technologies speak to us is an architecture we invented 25 years ago called CUDA. And on top of that CUDA library is a whole bunch of algorithms that we invented over the years, and that is basically NVIDIA's platform. In the end, we don't build self-driving cars, but we work with every single self-driving car company in the world. In the end, we don't discover drugs, but we just have, we work with every single drug discovery company in the world. We're the platform by which they build their things. We're a platform company.
I think I had a half a dozen young kids come up to me today saying NVIDIA gave them a better gaming experience. I mean, all your
before we invented the AI industry, the first industry we created is the modern gaming industry. Yeah, you don't know this. I'm very proud of this. NVIDIA is the world's largest gaming platform.
Yeah,
and probably didn't know that.
That's how most of the kids were talking to me about that today. I want to see them.
300 million active users.
Yeah,
100 million of them Nintendo Switch. Yeah, NVIDIA's in that.
Okay, so let me ask you, you said something recently that was quite provocative. You said that China was winning the AI race, the AI competition. I know that you've got a powerful, competitor in Huawei, and Huawei has a lot of advantages you don't have. Why don't you describe this competition? Are we really losing?
It was a very good headline.
It was a great headline, yeah.
And it apparently caught a lot of attention. As you know, with headlines, the disclaimer part, the foundation part was left out of the headline. But the way to think about that is, let me just handicap it right now. If you look at AI and go back to the first thing that we said, AI is a 5-layer cake. Let's just always simplify. It's not quite this simplistic, but let's simplify AI into a 5-layer cake. Energy, chips, infrastructure, models, and applications. Okay? And let's handicap it across from bottom to top. At the lowest level, energy, China has twice the amount of energy we have as a nation.
I want to ask about that.
Twice as much energy as we have as a nation, and our economy is larger than theirs. Makes no sense to me. We also know that one of the most important initiatives, one of the most important policies of this administration, and that was the first thing that President Trump said to me when we met, is listen, we need to reindustrialize America. We need to onshore manufacturing again. We need to help America make things again. It's going to create jobs. That part of the economy has been offshored and completely gutted the United States. We need to bring that back, and he needs my help to do so. And so that entire sector of the economy is missing. And however, without energy, how do we build chip plants, computer system plants, and these AI data centers? We call them AI factories. We're building simultaneously 3 different types of factories in the United States: chip factories, supercomputer factories, and AI factories. They all require energy, every single one of them. And so on the one hand, we want to reindustrialize the United States. How do you do that without energy? And so the fact that we vilified energy for so long, President Trump sticking his neck out and taking it on the chin and helping the country realize that energy is necessary for our growth is one of the greatest things he's done right off the bat. And so now, at the energy level, back to that stack, we're 50%, and they're growing straight up. We're kind of flat right now. And so, number 1, energy. Number 2, chips. We're generations ahead. We are generations ahead on chips, and I think everybody recognizes that. Number 3, infrastructure. If you want to build a data center here in the United States, from breaking ground to standing up a AI supercomputer is probably about 3 years. They can build a hospital in a weekend. That's a real challenge. And so at the infrastructure layer, their velocity of building things, because they are builders, their velocity of building things is extraordinarily high. Now, really quickly on chips, we're several generations ahead, but don't be complacent. Remember, semiconductors is a manufacturing process. Anybody who thinks China can't manufacture is missing a big idea.
But China discounts energy costs for a chip company by 50%.
That's right.
They provide free transportation for employees to come out to the factory.
That's right.
I mean, you can't do that. I mean,
our energy cost is more expensive than theirs in the first place.
Absolutely.
And then they discounted 50%. And so we're probably call it 4 to 8 times the cost.
So tell me, how do you feel about this great competition with China? I mean, the government is putting enormous resources underneath their champion. We don't do that in this country. How do you feel about that?
Well, before I get there, don't let me not answer that question. I'm dying to answer it. But let me handicap the next 2 layers. The model layer. United States frontier models, our frontier models are unquestionably world-class. We are probably, call it 6 months ahead. However, out of the 1.4 million models, most of them are open source. China is way ahead on open source. Now, the reason why open source is so important is because without open source, startups can't thrive, university researchers can't do research, you can't teach AI, scientists can't use AI. Basically, all of the industry around your economy have no ability to fundamentally advance themselves unless you have open source. Without Linux, where would we be? Without Kubernetes, without PyTorch, all of these different types of technologies that made AI thrive are all open source. They are well ahead of us on open source. And then the layer above that, applications. If you were to do a poll of their society and ours, and you ask them, is AI likely to do more good than harm? They're going to say, in their case, 80% would say AI will do more good than harm. In our case, it'd be the other way around. And so that tells you something that's very, very important. Socially, we need to be careful not to describe AI in these science fiction movie ways of describing AI and causing people so much concern. We want to be concerned, but we also want to be practical. AI is about automation. And that area, I think that we need to be careful not to fall behind in the application and the diffusion of AI, because in the end, whoever applies the technology first and most wins that industrial revolution. As you know, electricity was invented in the UK. But the United States applied it faster, more broadly, and as a result, look where we are. And so we have to be a little mindful. And so anyways, I just handicapped that stack. Okay, and I don't think it's important when you're looking at AI not to see it as a holistic thing. It's really not about ChatGPT versus DeepSeek. You have to look at it across all of the stacks and across all of the industries. Does that make sense? It's a little bit more complicated than one simple answer.
But do you feel you have a level playing field up against China putting their resources under Huawei?
First of all, America's technology industry, just as our financial services industry, our military, our technology industry, we can all agree, are the mightiest in the world. I am part of one of the mightiest industries anyone in history has ever seen.
No.
We have going toe-to-toe against anyone. The American technology industry has nothing to fear. We are mighty, we're fast, we're inventive, we'll take anybody on. However, we can't concede the market to them. As you know, at the moment, NVIDIA has been banned from going to China. Not to mention China has banned NVIDIA going to China. Yeah. And so I think we're the first company in history that has been banned on both sides. Whoever banned us going to China, them and China agree that NVIDIA should not go to. Now, of course, I'm being a little cute here, and I'll be a little bit more nuanced here in a second. But at the moment, we're simply not competing in China. Now, what's going on? We have conceded essentially the second largest AI market, the second largest technology market in the world.
I know.
China will. It's not. Somebody has said to me, "Well, yeah, okay, well, we're not in China, but we're going to grow somewhere else. You're not going to replace China." It's just as the world wanting to sell to America and they want to export to America. If they don't export to America, you're not going to replace the United States. We are singular in the world. We are absolutely singular. And so in the case of China, we shouldn't concede the entire market to them. They're formidable, but conceding that entire market, we ought to go compete for it. Having said that, we should also acknowledge that Huawei is one of the most formidable technology companies the world has ever seen. They deserve, although they have a lot of support, whatever support they have, they deserve all of the respect that everybody ought to give them. We compete with this company. They're formidable. They're agile. They move incredibly fast. We said if the United States was not in China, China's AI industry would be set back.
Yeah.
Absolutely has not happened. As a result, their semiconductor industry has double. You know, the semiconductor industry in the West, around the world, is growing at 20-30% per year. Growing 20-30% per year compounded versus doubling every year compounded doesn't take long to catch up.
But, you know, they're starting on second base and we're just going up to the batter's box. You know, they've got a real advantage. And that means we need to think about this. Can I ask you, we, at the G20 summit, Li Keqiang, you know, the premier was there and he was offering opportunities for countries to be participants with China on AI. We didn't even send a delegation. It doesn't feel like we're in the game.
They're smart about technology proliferation.
Yeah.
If we use 5G as an example, they realize 5G is technology that's also a platform, because on top of 5G, you build all kinds of services on top of it. Well, if you get there first, wherever you get first, if you get there first, just as NVIDIA, I was there 25 years first. And so I had, you know, for a long time, nobody paid me any never mind. So I had lots and lots of time to build up all these ecosystems and applications and relationships and ecosystems. And I connected all this stuff together in all these different fields of industry. I had 25 years to do it. In the case of Huawei with 5G, they were completely, through policy, completely isolated, people thought, in China. So they had 1 billion phone users all to themselves. It gave them the opportunity to grow scale. They exported the technology to all of the countries of Belt and Road, and now there's AI Belt and Road. And so they'll definitely diffuse the Chinese technology as quickly as possible, because they understand that the sooner you get there, the sooner you build the ecosystem on top, the sooner you become you become essential part, a dependent part of that ecosystem.
Tell me about the Chinese ecosystem they're trying to create. Obviously, it's deep and it's robust, and that it has a physical as well as a technological and economic dimension. How do you look at that?
Take a step back again. Remember, I think it's like 9 out of the 10 top science and technology schools in the world are now in China. They lead in science and technology. It's like 9 out of the 10 top science and technology schools in the world are now in China. They lead in science and technology in many different fields. This has completely flipped in the last half to a decade. We used to lead most of them. Now they lead most of them. They have a large population of highly qualified students. Absolutely. Number one. Number two, 50% of the world's AI researchers are Chinese. Third, 70% of last year's AI patents are published by China. The ecosystem of AI in China is vibrant, rich, incredibly innovative. They work incredibly hard. This is a country with an enormous might. So that is the ecosystem of software developers. Now, that layer, as I just mentioned, the model and the application layer. All of these scientists, they're sitting at the model and the application layer. And now they're going to take that capability, because the United States is no longer participating in China. We've left China. We're evacuated that market. We've conceded that market. And so now they've got to go build their own. So using these AI researchers, all of these incredible computer scientists that they have, their richness of software capability, and they're going to go build their own complete stack. Once they build that entire complete stack, they'll export it as quickly as you can imagine. And this is the world what we will find someday if we don't activate.
We'll be buyers, not sellers.
That's right.
Let me ask you now, you're in Washington, D.C. I know you don't look forward to those opportunities, but we're...
my only opportunity to wear a suit.
And a tie. But let me ask, because, you know, we're involved in something I've not seen before in my 45 years here. We've delved into industrial policy. I always thought industrial policy was something that we shouldn't be doing in this country. Now, the Biden administration decided that they would define what they would allow you to sell. And they have this thing that they call diffusion that they were trying to manage. Now you get the Trump administration, they don't have that, but they want a golden share and they want a percent of the cut, you know, on how you're doing business. Tell me about how you look at this industrial policy that we have in Washington.
I do agree that industrial policy should intervene when a dramatic action needs to be taken. I also would say that President Trump walked into a situation where dramatic actions needed to be taken. The first dramatic action that needed to be taken is to reverse the mistakes that have been made in energy growth over the course of the last decade. We have done our country a great disservice. There are no new industries you can grow without energy.
No, electricity.
That's right. We need electricity, because otherwise, sure, we could all be in the services industry. And as you know, the service industry only needs calories. But manufacturing industry needs electricity. And so we need energy, number one. Number two, we do need to, if we want to fix our social issues, domestic social issues, we have to create prosperity, not just for people with PhDs and college degrees. We have to create prosperity for every segment of the economy. And so the largest segment of the economy is manufacturing, and we've offshored that for too long, for 20 years. We have to bring that back, and we have the ability to do so. And this AI industrial revolution, this flashpoint, is precisely when we should do it, because it allows us, it created a company called NVIDIA, made it possible for us to have such a large ecosystem of suppliers. We can encourage them to partner with us. We can encourage Taiwan to partner with us to help us reindustrialize the United States, and they've done so with great support. Taiwan really needs to have some acknowledgement for the incredible effort that they're putting in place to help us reindustrialize the United States. If not for the work that they're doing, the work that NVIDIA has done in Arizona wouldn't have made the progress it has. Oh. I recently gave a congratulations speech at TSMC in Arizona, and when I looked out into the audience, it was 2/3 Taiwanese and 1/3 American. Arizona is practically, well, the quality of Taiwanese food in Arizona, let me just put it out. The quality of Taiwanese food in Arizona has increased tremendously. Okay, you want to get a bowl of beef noodle soup, you're gonna do just fine. But all these young families from Taiwan came to help us stand up our factories. And so we should acknowledge that. And South Korea helping us stand up our memory manufacturing. We should acknowledge that. The companies Foxconn, Wistron, Amcor, Spill helping us set up systems manufacturing. They came from Taiwan. Really important. And so one, if not for the fact, the second industrial policy is to reindustrialize the United States. That I think is a fantastic initiative. And I'm all behind that. I was probably the first CEO to jump behind that and take advantage of NVIDIA's capabilities in this flashpoint of AI industrial revolution to help bring all of that supply chain. I committed to my customers, my partners, that we're going to build in this administration within President Trump's term, $500 billion of AI supercomputers. And so that's the second part, energy growth, reindustrializing the United States. The third part that I think required a fair amount of discussion to help policymakers understand that technology leadership, American technology leadership, and American national security goes hand in hand. Our nation's extraordinary technology industry is part of our national security. The fact that we have our technology all over the world, that the world relies on to build their industries, their ecosystem, their economies, is an advantage for the United States. It's a strength of the United States. It helps keep the United States safe when everybody works with us.
Let me build on that.
Yeah.
I think national security, there are two dimensions of national security. And I differentiate small case and large case. Small case, national security, small n, small s. I think that's, aircraft carriers and bombers and divisions and training programs. Capital national security, NS, is the dynamism of your economy, the productivity of your industry, the creativity of your ideas industry, the sense of fairness in your judicial system. You are here, you benefit from that larger case, but you're building that larger national security industry. Tell us how you think about your role on national security.
Number one, NVIDIA was birthed in the United States. We are a proud American company. We're inventive, we're vibrant. We're at the center of the single most important industrial revolution in human history. This is an industrial revolution in every single way as important as electricity. We are going to impact every single industry, every single company. Every country will build it. Every company will use it. We export American technology wherever the United States would like us to export the American technology. This is an extraordinary opportunity for us to make a substantial contribution to our national security. We also know that national security and economic prosperity go hand in hand. The wealthier our nation, the more we can fund the mightiest military on the planet. And I do believe that it is the case where, because of this new industrial revolution that we've started, we are creating new factories in America. We're creating new jobs in America. And somebody recently told me that we contributed more to economic growth singularly than just about any company in the world today to the American economy. And I believe that that's probably true. And the reason for that is NVIDIA is a multi-$100 billion company supporting multi-$100 billion companies going after trillion dollars of industry. And so the economic prosperity, the technology leadership, unquestionable. The economic prosperity that we can contribute to, unquestionable. Now the question then becomes, how do we think through the diffusion of, the export of, the proliferation of American technologies and standards? We should, of course, number one, safeguard our national security, the little n, little s, to ensure that adversaries don't have access to sensitive technology or advanced technology that we don't need them to have access to. We should, number two, ensure that American companies, American technology companies, through partnership with us, have the benefit of the best and first. But then after that, after number one and number two, we should also proliferate American technology standards, compete around the world, fuel this flywheel of funding our R&D so that we can continue to be the mightiest technology industry in the world, so that we can fund the mightiest military in the world. And all of that, I think, goes hand in hand.
In other AI news this week, OpenAI and Disney announced a landmark 3-year partnership that makes Disney the first major studio to officially license its IP to an AI video platform. Backed by a $1 billion equity investment and additional warrants, the deal gives Sora and ChatGPT images controlled access to over 200 characters, costumes, and locations across Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars. Starting in early 2026, users will be able to generate short, fan-prompted videos and images with curated content even appearing on Disney+. Importantly, the agreement excludes actor likenesses and voices, enforces age-based access rules, and includes strict safeguards against harmful or illegal outputs. Disney will also integrate ChatGPT and Sora APIs into its internal tools and Disney+, turning one of the world's largest IP libraries into a licensed AI-native ecosystem. This deal is widely seen as a test case for how generative AI and major rights holders can coexist without constant legal conflict. Meanwhile, Mistral AI doubled down on open source with the release of DevStral 2, a new family of coding-focused models. The flagship DevStral 2 weighs in at 123 billion parameters with a massive 256K context window, while DevStral Small 2 offers a 24B parameter alternative that can run locally on consumer hardware. DevStral 2 scored 72.2% on SWE Bench Verified, putting it among the top-performing open-weight coding models available, while remaining significantly more cost-efficient than proprietary competitors. The models are designed for real-world software engineering tasks like multi-file refactoring, dependency tracking, and automated retries. Mistral also introduced the Vibe CLI, a command.
Meg, before I let you go, I want to talk about a new tourism proposal. The Trump administration says they plan to require all foreign tourists to provide their social media histories when trying to enter the country. How unprecedented is this? And are there any concerns when it comes to privacy, free speech?
Yeah, so it's a pretty unusual move, but it also is in line with other moves that the administration has made in recent months targeting social media. So, for example, back in June, the State Department had said that it would require people who are applying for certain types of visas to make their social media public. Now, that move had generated a whole lot of controversy. I want to read you a little bit about what an advocacy group had to say about that at the time. It's called the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and they called it, quote, a dangerous push to surveil and suppress foreign students' social media activity. So what happens next in this case is that there's going to be a 60-day public comment period where people can weigh in on this proposal. Something I also wanted to note is that this could potentially have a big impact next year as well. That's because the U.S. is going to be hosting FIFA World Cup events, and that's when there are going to be a whole lot of international tourists coming here.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point there. Megan Leibowitz, thanks so much.